You bet it does. Welcome in to Wednesday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. It's Andy Humphrey here. No Brendan today. No Brendan the rest of this week. That's okay, though. It's for a very good reason. As we shared earlier in the week, he let you know why he's going to be out on Monday. We told you again on Tuesday. And it turns out that the Schaefer family has grown. Congrats to Brendan and his wife, Emily, on welcoming in a new baby boy. How about that? Everyone's doing well. Just figured we should pass that info along since I know a lot of you ask about Brendan. And so, everyone's doing okay. That's all good to know. And we'll certainly be looking forward to having Brendan back as the Big Show family grows. That'll be fun to celebrate once he gets back here. In the meantime, we'll keep things rolling here on the Big Show as we talk some Mizzou. Interesting transfer portal news over the last 24 hours or so regarding the secondary for the Tigers. 2 players in and 1 player out. So we'll get to that here in a few minutes. We'll preview tonight's Mizzou men's basketball matchup as the Tigers take on the Auburn Tigers tonight. Coverage starts at 5:30, tip-off at 6. Right here on KTGR. We'll preview it at 5:05. And the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, joins us at 4:25 to preview Cardinals Caravan coming up this Friday. Get all the details at ktgr.com. Totally free. You can come on by and meet some great Cardinals players and some great Cards alumni, as well as John Rooney, who will be emceeing the event on Friday at the Missouri Farm Bureau Center in Jefferson City. So we hope you join us for that. John Rooney is going to join us at 4:25 to talk about that and some Cardinals baseball, of course, as we get closer to the season. 875-KTGR to give us a call or a text. You can also tweet us at KTGR Big Show and find us on Facebook where we're live right now, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show. And don't forget our YouTube channel. We're also live at the moment there too, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
So Mizzou today has added a secondary player, or I should say defensive back, to its commitment list from the transfer portal, but also has lost a player through the transfer portal today as the transfer portal is open through Friday. Tigers learned that Mose Phillips III will enter the transfer portal and search for a new school to play at. He spent 1 year at Mizzou, played in 11 games at the safety spot, transferred in from Virginia Tech, but just 1 season at Mizzou for Mose Phillips. But we just learned not too long ago that the Tigers have added another cornerback to their secondary out of Oregon, Sion Laule. I believe I'm saying it right. If not, I apologize. Committed to Mizzou today. Had 10 tackles, 5 pass breakups, and an interception this past season with the Ducks. And that is the Big Show's big deal on this 14th day of January 2026. You can call or text us here at 573-875-KTGR if you want to join us on the latest when it comes to Mizzou's transfer portal haul, which is now, according to all the sites, 19 players. Of course, factor in everything they've lost through the transfer portal. 24/7 Sports counts it at 24 outgoing transfers. And again, 19 incoming transfers. Man, that's a lot. It's a lot to keep up with. And we kind of mentioned it a little bit the other day of, can you do this every single year? Can you just completely overhaul with 25 to 30, not even just newcomers, because you're going to have a lot of newcomers anyway, but just with transfers? It's a lot to try and keep up with, and it honestly is hard to, at least in my estimation, build a foundation that way. Mizzou's done a great job of doing it over the last few years under Eli Drinkwitz. I think without a doubt, transfer portal has been good to Mizzou last few years. Net positive, whatever you want to call it. Gotten more out of it than you've lost from it. This year, it's not over yet, but Mizzou is still, I think, in the process of getting to the point where, okay, we've met everything that we've lost from the transfer portal. Clearly, the open holes on defense is where this is being felt the most. And it's encouraging news that within the last 24 hours, we've learned of 2 cornerbacks, in fact, that are transferring into Mizzou. Last night, it was Elijah Dotson, who's really interesting, really intriguing true freshman who played a good amount of time for true freshman standards as a defensive player at Michigan, which is a really good defense. And he contributed. He had 11 tackles, pass breakup, interception. Elijah Dotson's a very interesting player that's now added into the mix for the Tigers with 3 years left in eligibility. And again, the spot that he plays, corner, is a major position of need. Mizzou, now at the moment, as I go through what they have situated so far, I believe it's 3 corners that they have gotten commitments from. Only 2 of them are listed as corners. I think technically Elijah Dotson is listed as a safety, but he plays corner as well. I think that's where Mizzou will probably want him to go because they're a little bit more set at safety. Maybe they take one more now that Moses Phillips is gone, but they've got more of a need at corner because of everybody they graduated, and I think they lost one more to the transfer portal too. So the fact that over the last 24 hours, you're starting to feel that need a little bit more, a little more encouraging. I still have 2 major questions as to whether Mizzou can replace this in the transfer portal, because I don't think it has been adequately replaced to this point, respective to what Mizzou is losing. I see only one edge rusher that the Tigers have landed. 2 edge rushers, technically. Kevin Tooley just committed from the University of Houston, but to be honest with you, he's really only played special teams so far. I don't know if you expect him to come in and work right into the defensive end rotation. I could be wrong, but I don't really expect that right now. And Jaden Jones out of Florida State, who committed over this past weekend. Another interesting one. I mean, it's kind of more on the younger side. Jaden Jones still with some eligibility left to go. And so we'll see how it pans out for him to work with the Tigers and see what he can give there. But to be honest, when you lose Zion Young, you lose Damon Wilson, it's not that you have to get those same type of players right away. You can develop one of your current players into that potentially, but how much do you guarantee that that's going to happen? It is a huge question mark to me for what Mizzou is going to have at that spot into 2026, because they've had a good amount of pass rushers to rely upon over the last few years during this run that they have created. Darius Robinson, Johnny Walker Jr., and of course, the 2 defensive ends that they had on either side of each other, Zion Young and Damon Wilson, was a really strong tandem. Can you get back to that? It's going to be a major question. Right now, I mean, you're kind of relying upon the return. Right now, you're relying on the returners to put that together. So that's Darius Smith, who is a positive. He was a net positive, I think, last year for Mizzou. It was good to get him back in the fold after he missed all of the year before with injury. But they kind of had to manipulate his role a little bit. He wasn't quite, that 3-point stance type of defensive end that lines up. They kind of moved him around the formation a little bit. Had to maybe come on a delayed blitz most of the time, almost in a linebacker spot. Do you have to move him back to the DN spot to make sure that you have enough there? At least for right now, you're asking that question. Maybe Mizzou's got a plan to get a stud edge rusher in here to solve this issue. But for now, I think it is a bit of an issue. That's the first question mark. And the second question mark, biggest one, at least for now, that I'm thinking off the top of my head. You sure the wide receiver room's okay? I'm not so sure yet. Donovan Olubade, obviously, very strong candidate to lead the team in receiving next year based on, well, the fact that he was here last year and you know his name. Not saying that he's incapable of it. It's just that's the automatic assumption that a lot of Mizzou fans will make because you don't know if Caleb Goody's going to be that. You don't know if Horatio Fields is going to be that. Fields, the guy who came in from Auburn, and Goody, of course, came from Cincinnati. Goody is your Marquise Johnson replacement, if you ask me. Fields, we'll see. Obviously came in pretty highly rated, has some production chops, but and then also Nashawn Montgomery they got from Florida, who's maybe more of a long-term play. He's got a lot of eligibility left. Didn't get all the playing time he would have wanted at Florida, and so he finds a new place to go. Maybe he works into the mix. It's an interesting guy that you can evaluate and see what you have. But I don't know if you rely upon him to be a huge difference maker, or at least that's not the expectation. I think you need to maybe find one more of those guys. Not necessarily one of those guys like Montgomery, but just a stud. I don't know if you found a Kevin Coleman. I don't think that is on Mizzou's commitment list from the transfer portal right now. I think you need to find something closer to that and not just automatically assume that, oh yeah, Olubade is going to make a 35 catch jump this year from where he was his true freshman year. It's not impossible to happen. He's got the talent to do so, but you need to have some balance and stability in that wide receiver room, and maybe even the experience too, to really steady things and allow for a quarterback that I'm sure you paid a good amount to bring in here, Austin Simmons, to have enough to work with. Those are my two main questions at the moment. How does Mizzou address those two positions right now in the transfer portal for however longer you can to get commitments in? Yeah, again, the portal closes Friday, but that doesn't mean that players have to have their decisions made by Friday as to where they're going. They just need to have the decision made as to whether they're in the transfer portal. And then they can commit any time afterwards. But of course, there's enrollment for school and everything like that, and basics, things of that nature. So call or text us with what you think Mizzou still needs. 573-875-KTGR. And look, this won't be it. This won't be the last guy that Mizzou adds. The most recent one, the Oregon cornerback that just committed earlier this afternoon, Sion Lale. Second Oregon corner to commit to the Tigers, by the way, Jaleel Florence earlier in the year. That's the guy who has been injured the last couple of years, and you're hoping that he gets back to what he was his first 2 years at Oregon. So this won't be it, but you do need to have at least one or two big fish at those key positions that we talked about for this, at least in my estimation, to be a success. Because everywhere else, pretty much, you've gotten what you need. I think Mizzou is close to the amount of corners that they need now. They've got 3 in, maybe one more to really stiffen up the competition between guys for starter minutes. Wouldn't hurt. Safety, maybe you look at a little bit, but that's also, maybe you have to go after a guy that you just can't pass up if someone becomes available that way, and then you make that a priority going forward. I'm actually weirdly okay with where they're at offensive line at the moment. It obviously can't hurt to add another. But you're good at linebacker. You're, I think, good at defensive tackle. They've made some additions there through the portal. But edge rusher and wide receiver is where I'm still wondering, like, okay, Are you going to have enough guys that are productive enough to keep you afloat against SEC teams? Would love for Donovan Olubode to make that step forward, and for one of, at least, but hopefully both of Horatio Fields and Caleb Goody to be regular guys in the wide receiver rotation going forward. I would like to see one more at least be thrown in for good measure. One stud receiver that's available in the portal that you can add to the mix and feel a little more comfortable, give as many options to Austin Simmons as possible that he can trust. And honestly, as many options that Chip Lindsey can use to form his offense around the personnel that you have. Still that question that needs to be answered there. And man, if you can't rush the passer in this league, you are going to be in for it. Mizzou's been able to do that last couple of years. It's why when they brought back a lot of their secondary from last year, and we still saw a few of those busts during the early portion of this season, but they started to go away. You know why? Because Mizzou got to the passer. They made it tough in the backfield. They got sacks on third down when they needed to, or they created havoc on third down when they needed to, forced an incompletion, a throwaway, whatever it was. They made the plays up front, and Corey Batoon knew how to dial up which blitz he needed so that the back end only needed to cover for maybe 2-3 seconds at max, and you had the play worked. So does Mizzou have enough guys up front to continue that type of pressure that Corey Batoon has been able to dial up? But it's important to have the personnel that can consistently win at the line of scrimmage. I don't know if Mizzou has that from the transfer portal just yet. But there's still time for that to be the case. This weekend, obviously, going to be very important for that. Portal closes Friday, and then players that are still available, like, yeah, they can kind of take their time, but at some point, spring football is going to start up, and you got to make sure that you're on campus and everything like that, taking classes, things of that nature. So I think we've got only a week or two left before we really know the picture as to what Mizzou's roster looks like. And whether the transfer portal season was a success or not. I think we'll have that answer kind of soon. Probably not this week. Maybe next. If not, the week after that. Still a lot to work through. But call or text us with what you think at 573-875-KTGR if you want to join us here. And I don't think we should be too surprised that even at this point in time, Mizzou might be a little bit underneath what they need at the moment from the transfer portal to replace what they lost, because this is kind of a different way that this has worked this year. It's 2 weeks that the portal is open. Last year, you had a whole month to talk about who's available, who can you get, who can you add. And there was less pressure to have it happen right away because there was more time to work with it. Now, it still made it tough on coaches because during that same time, they were trying to coach, get their teams ready and practicing for bowl games, which, like, it's not that the bowl game itself was as important, but the bowl practices that you have beforehand are very important to development, and you can't necessarily ignore those. So you had to do that while you worked the portal, and like this year it is a little bit better. So you can really focus on the portal after all of that has been taken care of on the practice side. And you go through the process of, okay, who are you keeping? Who's going to be leaving through the portal? And now you can really hit the ground running to that. But it puts pressure on the ground running phase, right? We've had maybe like 2-3-ish weeks of this now. I mean, portal's only been open less than 2 weeks, obviously. So not a whole lot of time to make the additions that you're hoping to make. And maybe banking on through all of the back channeling that you did throughout the course of the month of December before the portal actually opened, because things can't always change. Like, again, like when Mose Phillips today decides, yeah, I think I'm going to enter the portal, well, then shoot, I don't know if that was something that Mizzou was probably expecting. Who knows? But if you do it this late, usually at this point, teams kind of know who is going to enter the portal from the team and who isn't. They've mostly re-signed everybody that they need to re-sign, and then they start making the additions. So I don't know what that situation was, obviously, but it's just, it goes to show that that's the nature of this. Things can change on a dime during these couple of weeks that the portal is open, and now all of a sudden you probably do need to look at safety because you lost one today. So we'll see how the Tigers respond to that. But still a ways to go. If by next week, this time, they don't have a stud pass rusher or another reliable pass catcher that can play wide out and be an option for Austin Simmons, if they don't get both of those things by this time next week, then yeah, maybe you can panic a little bit. But still let it play out the whole way through before you make wholesale judgments on it. And we'll see how the entire haul looks for Mizzou going forward. You can call or text us at 573-875-KTGR if you want to weigh in on Mizzou football and the transfer portal so far. Again, the news from the last 24 hours. 2 cornerbacks in, Elijah Dotson from Michigan and Sion Lawley from Oregon. Lawlia, I should maybe say. Lawlia is the last name there for the Oregon transfer CB. And then Mose Phillips III entering the transfer portal from Mizzou, spent 1 season here after transferring in from Virginia Tech. We have John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, joining us next. John is always awesome to talk to. He's such a nice guy, and you can see exactly how nice of a guy he is when you come to the Cardinals Caravan this Friday night at 6 o'clock at the Missouri Farm Bureau Center. It's a totally free event. You can go and get all the details at ktgr.com to see who you'll be able to interact with there. And word is this year, if you're 16 and older, you'll get 2 free Cardinals tickets. That's what they say, at least. That's what they tell me. So go and check out those details at ktgr.com, and you'll hear coming up next, John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, talk to us about the Cardinals Caravan, the guys that you'll be able to meet there and how he has interacted with them in the past and how he's looking forward to interacting with them at the Caravan. Plus a little bit on the Cardinals season, obviously. Nolan Arenado traded away, and that's not the only trade that the Cardinals have made with involving names that you know. So we'll ask John about all of that next year on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app.
The Big Show with Andy and Brendan continues next on your total sports station, KTGR.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed or your money back. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, and stress eating. Also, stop smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn, Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30, stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
The bag sale is here at Menards. Get 15% off everything you can fit in the bag. How much will you save? And for those working on big projects, get big savings on big buys. Countertops are the center of the home, and Menards carries a great selection of durable, stylish options to choose from. Plus, get 15% off everything you can fit inside the bag. Good through January 24th. See store for complete details.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, I'm Sarah Sticklin-McDonald.
And I'm Charlie Sticklin with the Sticklin & Sticklin Law Firm.
And I'm Mizzou Softball's Natalie Touche.
At Sticklin & Sticklin, all we do is personal injury.
We've earned millions for our clients since 1991.
On the diamond, I trust my team. Off the diamond, I trust Sticklin & Sticklin. Don't let the insurance companies strike you out.
Let Sticklin & Sticklin go to bat for you.
Sticklin & Sticklin, it's a home run.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
From the trainers to the coaches, the equipment managers to the players and fans, it takes a whole team to be truly successful. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you're looking for the best team of jewelers in Columbia, it's Betts. Their staff has years of experience handcrafting jewelry, and when you combine that with the newest technology, it gives Betts Jewelers the ability to truly wow their customers. So talk to the team at your hometown jeweler today. Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
Hi, we're Midway Electric. When winter hits, electrical issues can turn serious fast, at home or at your business. That's why you need a trusted local team that shows up, solves the problem, and stands behind the work. From whole home generators and security systems to everyday service and repairs, Midway Electric has you covered. And now through January, get $500 off a whole home generator installation to keep you powered up no matter the weather. Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
We're back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app, as we get set for Cardinals Caravan this weekend. It'll be at Jefferson City's Missouri Farm Bureau Center at 6 o'clock this Friday. Hope you join us for it, as we'll get a chance to hear from a bunch of different Cardinals, some Cardinals alumni as well, and you'll get to hear from the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, who will be emceeing the event, and we're glad to have John with us here on the KTGR hotline here on the Big Show to join us now. And John, first of all, Happy New Year to you. I don't care if how long we're allowed to say Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, John. How has it been leading into this winter? And now all of a sudden the season's going to be here before we know it seems.
Well, Happy New Year to you, Andy, and we'll be saying that, imagine the first game in spring training, the first day, opening day, when we get to the end of March. So I guess we can say it any time we want, but didn't we just do this interview? I mean, where did the year go?
I know.
We were talking a year ago about our evening at Missouri Farm Bureau in Jefferson City and had a great time there, and we always do. The fans in Central Missouri have just been so welcoming, and we get some great questions from the kids, and we get the autographs going and get to meet with the fans. The fans get to see the players up close and personal. So things have been going well. But with the winter warm-up and the Caravan, it's always the start of a brand new season, and we're ready to get it going.
Yeah, certainly so. And these events that you're able to come out to each and every year, I mean, we're always so happy to be a part of it. But to have you and several other Cardinals players and alumni to go and interact with fans, not just where the fan base is in St. Louis, but as we know, it's such a wide area that Cardinals fandom spans across the Midwest. So how is it being able to get back into it with these types of events? And you obviously get to travel with those particular players and get to know them a little bit better once these events roll around.
Well, that's right, Andy. But I remember when I talked to Vin Scully, one of the last times I spoke with Vin, and I called him to tell him the Red Shanganes had passed on. And Vin had been retired, I guess, going on 2 years. And I asked him if he missed it. And he said, no, I don't really miss the games, but I miss the people. And remember, this is all about relationships. What you do, what I do, what your station does, what the Cardinals do. It's about relationships, and it is about the people. And getting to come out to Central Missouri and see a great fan base, as many of those fans will come into St. Louis they may see as many as 15, 20 games a year, many of them, if not more. And to get to visit when they don't have the opportunity to make it to St. Louis to be a part of the winter warm-up, they still get to be a part of the action and get to know these young players. As I have Matthew Liberatore, who broke into the starting rotation last year, and he found out a lot about himself. Coming over from Tampa Bay in the Randy Arozarena trade, I'm sure that carried enough pressure to compete after what Arozarena was able to do in the postseason. But Liberatore said, I can only do what I can do, and proved to be a very serviceable starting pitcher. And I think he'll be even better this year. And Bryson Motts is our pitcher of the year in the minor leagues, good young left-hander. And another left-hander who was the pitcher of the year in the Cardinal minor league system the year before, Quinn Matthews, will be with us. And we have Ivan Herrera. That man can hit. He tears up left-handed pitching. And oddly enough, he had to fight some injuries last year, and he's coming back from surgery that I hope it helps his right arm to where he can throw and be more effective behind the plate. But at the plate, he's more than effective. He had a 3-home-run game against the Angels in April, then went to Boston and hit a home run before he suffered a leg injury that kept him out of a lot of action. But boy, they were glad to have him back when he was in the lineup, and I'm glad to have him on this leg of the Caravan. And then two of my favorite Cardinal alumni will be with me. Al Roboski, who went into the Cardinals Hall of Fame last year. Al's always been one of my favorites going back to his playing days. And we have Bernard Gilkey from the St. Louis area. Both are Missouri Sports Hall of Famers. And Bernard Gilkey is just a sensational personality. He was a great player. And we'll have a good time with everybody.
Certainly so. Voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app as we get set for Cardinals Caravan this Friday night at 6 o'clock at the Missouri Farm Bureau Center in Jefferson City. You know, as the team starts to kind of take shape for this season, it obviously will look a little bit different. Not seeing guys like Sonny Gray and Wilson Contreras.
It's going to look a lot different.
Yeah, Andy. For sure. And I didn't even get to Nolan Arenado, which we learned about this week, John. But how do you kind of now see it as maybe an opportunity for this organization, and again under new leadership in Chaim Bloom for 2026, as different as it might look? How do you kind of see it actually shaping up once the games do get here soon?
I'm not sure we have a complete clear picture yet. I don't think Chaim's done in shaping the roster before we get to spring training. I just get that feeling. But with what he's done, he's opened up playing time at third base. And I know this, he's not just going to award a position. Chaim or Ollie or the coaching staff, they're just not going to give a position to a player and say, go do whatever you want. Whether it's good or bad, you're going to be out there the whole year. You're not going to see that. It's competition they want. And they want enough depth in their young players to find out what they have in them in the first place, where Nolan Gorman has an opportunity to play third base. And we have Brendan Donovan, who's still on the roster. And I'd love to see him there opening day, but I know a lot of teams are interested. And if the Cardinals get the right combination and it's a deal that's too good to pass up, I don't see Chaim Bloom passing that up. But we'll have to see how all that plays out. But I think the competition will create for a very interesting spring training, where our games that we'll be doing from Florida throughout the spring are going to be more interesting than we've really witnessed in a number of years.
Certainly so. And, you know, with all the positions that might be worked out in that sense, it's also kind of interesting to look at how the pitching might shape up too. And kind of the approach that's with trading away guys like Gray and Arenado and Contreras to try and see how many pitchers you can get into the room and compete for some of those starting jobs. And certainly even throwing in the mix the signing of Dustin May as well, some experience that comes into that room. So as you kind of seen how the pitching approach has been, as far as building this roster, does it feel a little bit different that way? And how do you kind of see that shaping up?
Well, the way I see it, Andy, I think they're setting it up for the future. I really do. I think they want to compete now, but they are setting it up where the experience that is acquired in 26 into 27, that they're going to be really competitive well beyond that by stockpiling some arms and adding to their pitching. But they also have to have some offense to go along with that and some guys who can catch the ball. I've always thought if you can pitch it and catch it, you'll find a way somewhere, some way, somehow to score a run and be competitive and then be in the thick of things. Yes, the Cubs have added a lot this year. Milwaukee has been a mainstay recently atop the division. Pittsburgh, they feel like the Pirates have added. a number of players to make them more competitive. And we saw what the Reds did last year in competing for a playoff spot. But Oliver Marmol and his coaching staff, they're not looking to go into the season just to try to keep their heads above water. They want to win games. They want to develop players in the process and have them playing the game the right way, doing things the right way to prepare. And I think that's why Chaim Bloom and the organization has really added a lot at the minor league level in the front office staff to try to support these players, to try to teach them and develop them where they are ready to compete and ready to perform once they get to St. Louis. And I think that's the direction they need to take. So in making these acquisitions now, I think the whole idea is not only to give young players a chance now, but to really hold their own and compete and be where they like to be. And that's playing deep in October in the future.
Voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, with us here on the Big Show, KTGR. What's been your impression and your interactions so far, however many you've been able to have with Chaim Bloom as he has taken over? And, of course, he's been with the organization now for a few years in various roles, so he's not much of a stranger anymore. But, obviously, as he elevates into this role, how have you seen him kind of take that on, maybe a little bit behind the scenes once as he has kind of now filled John Bozewak's shoes?
That's a good question, Andy, and I think I can answer it by saying he really is engaged with his staff. He wants opinions from everybody on the staff, and the people that he's hired to bring in, at Cerfolio and certainly Randy Flores is a holdover from Mo's staff. The people, he wants to hear from them. He wants to hear what they have to think, what they have to add when it comes to drafting players, when it comes to developing players. He wants to hear every possible opinion he can get before he formulates a decision. He's a very deep thinker. He's a very humble person, a very intelligent man, and I like the way he's working with Oliver Marmol and vice versa. Ollie has a really good development staff when you think of having Pop Warner, the third base coach, Stubby Clapp over there at first base, and Ollie. They were development people in the minor leagues for a long time before they became coaches with the Cardinals. And with a young team like we're going to have in the next 3 years, it's so important to have good teachers, and the Cardinals have that on their coaching staff.
Certainly so, and we're looking forward to the Cardinals season, and a great way to do so is to come by Cardinals Caravan this Friday in Jefferson City at the Missouri Farm Bureau Center. Totally free. You can go and check out some details over at ktgr.com. But, John, any other details that you want to share about Cardinals Caravan as we get closer to it the fans need to know?
Well, they just need to know, come on out and have a good time and bring your questions and be ready to laugh a little bit, learn a few things about these good young players that we have with us, and bring a few questions for Mr. Gilkey and Mr. Rabosky, because I know they're looking forward to the trip to Central Missouri and being in Jefferson City, and I am too. I'm always glad to come back to Jefferson City, where I spent a lot of time at Missouri Network, now Learfield, with Bob Priddy and with Clyde Lear, and I had a great time there. Roger Gardner, Derry Brownfield. I had a wonderful experience all those years, and it means a lot to me that we have Clyde and Derry and Bob Priddy and I are all in the Missouri Broadcasters Association Hall of Fame. That means a lot, and it means a lot to come back to Jefferson City and see a lot of close friends and great Cardinal fans, and just have a good time, because that's what we're out to do this weekend.
Well, John, it's always great to have you back in town when the season begins. So we'll be looking forward to that this weekend. Again, go and check out all the Cardinals Caravan details at ktgr.com right now, and come by Jefferson City, the Missouri Farm Bureau Center, Friday night. Great to have the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, here on the Big Show to talk about it. John, thanks for coming on today. We'll see you this weekend. Safe travels and everything. We'll talk soon.
Andy, just one more thing.
Yes.
Thank you for what you do, what the station does to promote Cardinals radio, the Cardinals, getting the word out there and keeping the fans informed every day once we get this started. That's so important for our network affiliates and for the stations in Central Missouri. You guys do a great job, and I can't tell you how much Mike Claiborne and Ricky Horton and Jim Jackson and our whole booth really appreciates what you do for us. And Ryan Schulte is a big part of that now too, doing our road game engineering and producing. But you guys make it easy to go to work, and we have a lot of great listeners out there in your listening area, and what you do to help us get the word out there, I can't say thank you enough.
we can't say thank you enough either, John. And appreciate you coming on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. And John the best. John's the best. What a nice guy. He is excellent in every way. And obviously looking forward to listening to him all season long here on KTGR during the Cardinals season. But of course, you can get a sneak peek into the Cardinals season by meeting some of their players and alums. Yeah, it's a good list. Matthew Liberatore is going to be there. Ivan Herrera, Quinn Matthews, really exciting prospect, and Bryson Motts, who is the minor league pitcher of the year for the Cardinals organization. And then Al Raboski, going to be really fun to hear his stories. Bernard Gilkey, too. You can go check all of them out at the Missouri Farm Bureau Center in Jefferson City, 6 o'clock on Friday. It is free, does not cost you a thing. If you're 16 and older, you'll get 2 tickets to a Cardinals game for this season. If you're 15 and younger, so if you got kiddos, you can get an autograph from every player and every alum. They'll have an autograph line after the event finishes up, so all the kids can go and get an autograph from each of the players afterwards. So why wouldn't you come by Jefferson City? And by the way, we're going to be there too. We're going to have our big show from Cardinals Caravan at the Missouri Farm Bureau Center from 4 to 6. And so you'll get a chance, if you're listening on KTGR, most likely to hear from some of those players right before they take the stage at Cardinals Caravan at 6 o'clock. So be looking forward to all of that. We're excited for it. Hope you are too, as Cardinals Caravan returns to mid-Missouri. No Columbia stop this year, but the Jeff City stop is going to be very fun. So be sure to check that out. Get all the details again at ktgr.com. The big show's on KTGR and the KTGR app at 4:44. We have Under the Bus coming up next. Look, glad you're with us on whatever medium it is. It might be your old school radio because, my gosh, all of the cell services seem to be crapping out today. We'll get to that next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Latest Mizzou football transfer edition is Oregon cornerback Sion Lalia, who comes to the Tigers as the 19th total transfer that Mizzou has taken this offseason. Tigers did add to the list of players that are outgoing as transfers today as well. Mose Phillips III announced his intention to enter the transfer portal. He spent 1 season with the Tigers after coming in from Virginia Tech, played in 11 games this past season with 5 tackles, pass breakup, and a forced fumble. Tigers will try to keep combing the transfer portal as it closes coming up on Friday. We'll keep you updated here on KTGR for all the latest news on Mizzou and the transfer portal. Mizzou men's basketball takes the court tonight at Mizzou Arena, taking on the Auburn Tigers. Mizzou 2-1 in conference play, trying to shake off the loss at Ole Miss this past Saturday. Tip-off is at 6. Pre-game begins at 5:30 right here on KTGR. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with Crutch's Custom Exteriors. Get your very own custom deck, mowing services, or perfectly landscaped backyard today. Lows down to 32 tonight and 5:38 tomorrow.
High school hoops.
Switches on the crossover, Euro step inside, high off the glass and in.
At its best.
Catch it on the left wing, turns around and knocks down the 3.
KTGR is your home for the best high school basketball matchups in Columbia. Follow the Cupies, Bruins, Spartans, and Trailblazers all season long on KTGR's High School Hoops Game of the Week. See the full list of game broadcasts on KTGR.com and listen on the go with a free KTGR app. High school basketball lives here on your total sports station, KTGR.
On an all-new Dr. Bill, how old is too old to be sleeping with mom and dad when you're a bed bug?
We just can't do it anymore. He's almost an adult.
Now, I have to be honest here. You are truly one of the most wretched, disgusting, blood-sucking insects that we have ever had on this show.
I mean, yeah, I'm a bed bug.
Can Dr. Bill help this bug grow his wings and fly?
I mean, no. No, I'm a bed bug. We don't have wings.
You need to stop with the excuses.
Today at 4 on Dr. Bill.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. And if you ever have a bed bug problem, just call me at Steve's Pest Control. I've got the equipment, the experience, and a team of dedicated experts. If you want your bugs removed, eradicated, or just plain old-fashioned dead, we're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
Hey, Columbia, this is Coach Agnew from API. I've got a New Year's deal for you don't want to miss. If you've been thinking about getting in shape, now's the perfect time to jump in. Sign up at API before the end of January and get your first 31 days for just $31. That's right, 31 days, $31. With expert coaching, a supportive community, and all the tools you'll need to crush your fitness goals. There's never been a better time to join the API family. So come on in and let's make this year your strongest year yet. Sign up now at APIProjectFitness.com.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Hey, this is Jimmy with Pro Designs. And maybe you've heard, we're the vehicle wrap specialist. But branding your business doesn't stop there. At Pro Designs, we can wrap your walls, windows, even floors.
Go to ProDesigns.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Lose weight or stop smoking with Hypnosis Guaranteed or your money back. No matter how many times you failed in the past, this hypnosis is guaranteed to work.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I've lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
Oh my, what are you waiting for? Lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed, only $59.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late-day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Hypnosis Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn, Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30 p.m., stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Registration 30 minutes before. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Hey, y'all, it's Molly from Billiards. Everybody I know is happy to say goodbye to 2025. So we're hoping for a fix in 26. And we hope you'll come see us at Billiards. That may sound cheesy to some of y'all, but who cares? At Billiards, we love cheese. We love bacon, too. And cheese and bacon make everything better. We believe that to be true.
Look on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway.
We survive 25.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
Glad you're listening to us, however you may be doing so today. I don't know if the major outages with pretty much all the major cell phone carriers today is affecting your listening. But if not, we appreciate it. Maybe you had to find an actual radio to listen to us. I don't know. Luckily, I seemed to have avoided that today, but I know that it affected a whole lot of people, and they maybe had to consider going back to the carrier pigeon route and, or the landlines. I mean, the landlines still work, obviously, thankfully, right? But whoever your cell service is probably gave you a little bit of stress today with it all being out for a while. So hopefully it's back. Hopefully they've gotten you back up and running. Also under the bus to Dylan Raiola. Yeah, the Patrick Mahomes lookalike and honestly wannabe. Dante Moore announcing that he is returning to Oregon to play quarterback, not going to go to the NFL draft. That comes like a day or two after Dylan Raiola committed to Oregon. So what does that mean? Does he now have to back out and say, oh, I'm back in the portal? Did he sign anything? I need to know if he signed anything. We don't have a Damon Williams situation also up in the Pacific Northwest. But if he did sign something, then ouch, Dylan Raiola. Maybe you should have waited to let things play out a little bit and not just committed to the school that knocked out Texas Tech, the school of what is clearly your favorite quarterback. that you have emulated at every step of the way, almost in like weird fashion. Like everything from the pregame routine to the on-field fit to the off-field fit. The hand at which you carry your bags when you walk into the state. It's just weird, man. It is so weird. I don't know if that's going to continue up in Eugene for Raiola in a backup role, it would seem. But, yeah, unfortunately for him, he's got some competition still. Probably not going to be the starter. Probably still going to be Dante Moore. And by the way, Dante Moore, right decision. Right decision, man. Don't go to the Jets. Don't give yourself even a chance of going to the Jets. But maybe it'll have to happen next year when the Jets go 3-14 again. Who knows? Also, onto the bus to FIFA. They might have a situation on their hands with the World Cup and how you might be viewing it. Of course, if you plan to just view it on TV, on Fox, then that's all well and good. But it seemed that FIFA, according to this reporting, sold out live look-in rights to TikTok. So essentially, TikTok is planning now to give live look-ins to the broadcast of the World Cup. I don't know how limited those look-ins are going to be, but essentially distributing out coverage of the game that you might be wanting to watch on TikTok. Well, that apparently happened, that whole deal between FIFA and TikTok, without Fox knowing. And as you know, if you followed this stuff, Fox is really a stickler on the World Cup, making sure that everybody knows that Fox is the exclusive video rights holder to all World Cup content, certainly here in the United States. And it apparently happened, this whole deal with TikTok happened without them knowing. So there's a little bit of consternation, I would imagine, between FIFA and TikTok and Fox, and that might have to get all settled out there. Bottom line, if you're planning to watch on Fox, I think you're good. But if you wanted to watch in any other ways, that could be a little bit of an issue. Or you could just be going to Kansas City and watching the games there too. That would be pretty fun. I mean, I don't know. If you obviously have had to enter a lottery. I know of a few folks who did, and we'll see if they actually get a chance to go. But, man, it is going to be quite the time. I can't wait for it from mid-June to mid-July, and hopefully the U.S. doesn't let us down. So it was a remember some guys type of moment for me when I was reading the list of the 2026 College Football Hall of Fame inductees. And it's not necessarily that I feel old, but these are guys that I remember growing up, like Ndamukong Suh and Mark Ingram and James Laurinaitis and Jordan Lynch and Owen Cruz and so many other guys that'll be inducted in 2026 to the College Football Hall of Fame. Also, coaches Gary Patterson and Chris Peterson. Very good list. And, I mean, Ndamukong Suh, for those who don't remember, but I'm sure you do remember, I mean, just wrecked teams single-handedly at Nebraska. Almost effortless the way he was able to do it. I remember him in that Big 12 championship game against Texas. Like, they should have just given Suh the MVP, even though his team lost. Like, it was that dominant. Cool stuff. Good to see him getting into the Hall of Fame there, as well as Mark Ingram, who was the first Alabama player to ever win the Heisman Trophy. Oh, by the way, Aaron Donald. Yeah. I think Aaron Donald deserves it too. Had a great college career and then went on to have a great NFL career. He'll be an NFL or Pro Football Hall of Famer before we know it too. So very good College Football Hall of Fame recruiting class. Class of 2026 of inductees. Not a recruiting class, but that's kind of what's on the mind, obviously, with transfer portal season and the like. We'll get more of your thoughts on that. Keep texting us with what you think Mizzou still needs in the transfer portal, 573-875-KTGR. Up next, though, big game for Mizzou tonight. I think it is, at least, because if you had a little bit of the wind taken out of the sails from the Ole Miss loss on the road, you want to try and stoke that as soon as possible as you take on an Auburn team tonight that has looked pretty good so far. Definitely looked good at home, beating a top 25 Arkansas team by 22 points the other night. So going to be difficult, but we'll see if the Tigers can get it done. Mizzou's Tigers, to be specific. We'll preview the matchup coming up at 5:05. Tell us your thoughts on 573-875-KTGR. So we preview some Mizzou basketball before getting you to that coverage at 5:30 with tip-off at 6 o'clock. Keep it here on The Big Show.
It was 1 p.m. on a Monday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration answered the call. It was a panicked family with a mouse problem. Well, a mouse/plumbing problem. Their toilet was more backed up than the connector at 63 and I-70. But Brian's team eventually plucked out the problem. It was a mouse, but like the computer kind, which the family then asked if they could keep afterwards. We didn't ask why. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
Life has many sweet sounds, whether it's being enchanted by the coo of a baby, enthralled by the refrain of a favorite song, or even enlightened by a celebration. Hearing connects, informs, and engages us with the world. At Hearing Aid Consultants, helping people hear better is our passion. Set your hearing baseline now so you don't miss the sweet sounds of life.
Hearing Aid Consultants in Allmake Repair Lab. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. When severe weather hits, scammers often follow. They may pose as charities, jack up prices on essentials, or offer fraudulent home repairs. I'm committed to protecting Missourians from those scams. If you've been targeted or suspect price gouging, report it to our office at 800-392-8222 or online at ago.mo.gov.
Paid for by the Missouri Attorney General's office.
So, Mr. Fancy Dancy Sports Car Dude, you say you were distracted by a raccoon feasting in the road? Okay. How about the fact that you were going way too fast when there's like 5 inches of snow on the ground? Nice ditch you got there, bro. Now you need a savior, a do-over. Find your phone and just Google I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for slide-offs. When your winter world seems to have been wrecked, call the team they hope you never have to meet. I70towing.com. A raccoon. Just ridiculous.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. It's back to school for Oregon quarterback Dante Moore. He'll return to the Ducks for the 2026 college football season. In addition to trying to help Oregon win a national title, Moore's got a couple of parts of his game he wants to improve on.
I can become a better leader. And when it comes to my play style, just, dissecting defenses, being able to be comfortable as I see it. If I see a defense that I know I've seen this coverage before and how to attack it. And there's a lot of great memories. And, of course, I'm still 20 years old, so I'm still young, and I have a lot of memories to make out here in college. I'm excited to be around the guys.
Oregon quarterback Dante Moore. By going back to the Ducks, Moore gave up a shot to be the top pick in the upcoming NFL draft. He will project near the top of a loaded QB class for 2027. NFL, as the Steelers get ready to start their search for Mike Tomlin's successor and only their fourth head coach in 57 years, team president Art Rooney II said his expectation has not changed. It is to compete to win a championship every year. He also dismissed the idea of a rebuild. New Wizard star Trae Young continuing to recover from MCL and quad injuries on his right leg out through the NBA All-Star break, reports ESPN's Shams Charania.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
From Faro.
15 to the 10, to the house.
Bush.
Back to the wall, and it's got her.
And Arrowhead.
Touchdown! Kansas City
to your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is the Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
Well, about a half hour, we'll get you out to Mizzou men's basketball coverage. Mike Kelly, Chris Trevino will take things over before Mizzou men's basketball takes on Auburn. But we want your thoughts on that matchup in the meantime. So tell us at 573-875-KTGR or leave a comment on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports. We're also live on Facebook, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show to sound off on Mizzou Hoops. They take on Auburn tonight. You can also get your Mizzou transfer portal thoughts in as two more players in over the last 24 hours, but one out. So we'll get to more of that. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Yeah, and again, the two players in for Mizzou football, Sion Lalia out of Oregon. He's a cornerback. Elijah Dotson out of Michigan. He can play cornerback, did play a lot of it at Michigan for the Wolverines. So two guys in the secondary that Mizzou is adding. Certainly needs some help at corner, so that helps. But appear to be losing a safety. Mose Phillips III announcing his intention to transfer today. And kind of late in the game a little bit. Transfer portal closes on Friday, so obviously players have time to make that decision over the next 48 hours or so. But a lot of players have already made that decision, and so a little bit surprising to see Mose Phillips make that call today. But anything can happen in the transfer portal. We'll see how Mizzou responds to it. Maybe they add another safety going forward.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
I think a big game for Dennis Gates tonight. Get the wind back in the sails from winning back-to-back games against Florida and Kentucky. But that kind of fell out a little bit when you lost to Ole Miss on the road. Now you get Auburn at home, who has had some good momentum themselves. I still think it's a team that Mizzou can match up pretty well with. We'll break it down here in just a little bit. You can give your thoughts as well with a call or a text. But winning this game gets you right back into the conversation of like, okay, can you get enough to be in the NCAA tournament mix? We shall see. Tip off at 6 tonight. Pregame in about 25 minutes here on KTGR.
Number 3.
Dante Moore staying at Oregon. I think he's making the right call. Give yourself one more chance in college, potentially to win a national championship. You're only a couple steps away this time. And also avoid the Jets. That's the best thing for Dante Moore, obviously. Wait for a better situation. We'll see if that ends up being the case. But also, poor Dylan Raiola. He committed to Oregon just this week, and now Dante Moore's back. Poor guy. NIL money will help you, though.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Hey, news for college basketball when it comes to the transfer portal. They are moving that window back to the day after the national championship game. So that's when the portal will open. It'll be open for 15 days. There's obviously stipulations for if your coach leaves or things like that. But it used to open after the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. This, obviously, a lot more common sense. Everybody gets to play in the championship game and then make the decision on the portal.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Stop.
Are we for sure convinced that Mike Tomlin is just going to do TV this next year?
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
875-KTGR if you want to give us a call or a text. It's honestly what I would do, and I wouldn't fault him for making that decision, and it's probably what's most likely going to happen. It's just very curious because a guy like Mike Tomlin usually wants to take on that challenge again of like, okay, maybe I can go to a different team and get the support I need and coach guys up and have winning seasons once again. Like, clearly that's the cloth that John Harbaugh is cut from. And I would think that Mike Tomlin is also cut from that too. Again, he doesn't have to. Like, he can just camp out in TV maybe for a year and then get back into it. Or he can camp out in TV for as long as he wants to if he doesn't want that stress of trying to run an NFL organization once again. Like, totally fine. He can pick his destination and he'll get well compensated for it wherever he goes. It's just been very odd that we're a day into him being stepped down from the position, at least, and we're pretty much all convinced through what's been reported through the insiders and everything like that, oh yeah, he's just going to do TV for a year. Okay. This NFL coaching carousel, though, could be a crazy one. And that could be an element that makes it even more crazy if, in fact, he decides to hop right back in. I don't know. But we'll see if he entertains those calls going forward. 875-KTGR, give us a call or a text here on The Big Show to get your thoughts in on Mizzou basketball tonight. Tigers take on Auburn. And anytime you host an SEC game, it gets you a little more likelihood for a signature win. And I think that's what Mizzou would get if they're able to beat this Auburn team. And that's what you're chasing right now. You get pretty much a chance to do that each and every week in this league. The SEC isn't as tough as it once was, but every single game on Mizzou's schedule that is left could be in at least quad 2 territory, except for maybe Mississippi State, which is a home game on the 31st. We'll see. But pretty much everywhere else, you're going to have tough games to deal with. And so any one of them, any one of them could be valuable to your resume. And so that's why the home games become a little more valuable, because they're the at least easier ones to get. Of course, nothing is easy. But when you welcomed in Florida to your building and the crowd got into it, that made a difference. And so with the crowd maybe at a little more full throat tonight, we shall see. I don't know. Students trickling back into town. Classes don't start till next week, but there's still some folks coming in. We're obviously branding the student section once again for this upcoming game. I don't know if they'll let regular ticket buyers come into that section like they usually do during the holidays or winter break, things like that. Not sure what the setup will be, but I would expect a pretty good crowd tonight, and Mizzou will need every bit of help to keep control against an Auburn team that's, look, they're 1-2 in conference so far, but an overtime loss at Georgia, a home loss to Texas A&M, one that they thought they had at the buzzer, but ball was just on the fingertips of the Auburn player that released the 3 at the end. It went in, but it didn't count. But then they just throttled Arkansas at home right after that. So, I mean, I'm just looking at the most recent data that we have on Auburn as a team, and that shows them just blistering the Arkansas Razorbacks to the tune of 45% from 3, getting to the free throw line a bunch, getting some production there, shooting 63% inside the arc. Keyshawn Hall putting up 32. He's one of the top pure scorers in this conference, certainly, and maybe across all of college basketball. So he's going to be a problem defensively for Mizzou to have to try and deal with. So, of course, with Mizzou, it's going to be about rebounding tonight. You got to make sure Auburn doesn't get extra chances at that. They're a very good offensive rebounding team, 10th in the country, according to Ken Pom. So Mizzou's got to hold their own there. And then, I mean, we'll bring it up until it actually comes up, the free throw percentage. It has already lost Mizzou a game this year in conference. It can't lose you another one. It probably will down the road if it doesn't improve, but it's got to at least get a little bit better. Can't be 50%. That's just dreadful. So when you get your chances at the line, Mizzou's got to convert them. Give us your thoughts on the game. Any predictions you want to give? 573-875-KTGR. Let's go out to the KTGR hotline now. Hello, who's this?
Yeah, this is Roger.
Roger, you're on the Big Show. What you got for us?
Hi, I have been lucky enough to watch a lot of SEC games. I don't think there's a team in the conference to be scared of. I think we can play with or beat all of them that I've seen. I've seen Auburn twice, and they're tough. We could lose tonight, but I expect our home court will bring us home. But it's not a year like the past where we knew Alabama and some of these teams were so tough you could barely have a chance to win. Now I think the conference could be wide open for us, and we could finish in the top 4 if we play well.
Yeah, right. It's a big if, though. Appreciate the call, Roger, here on the Big Show, because I kind of agree with your point. Like Mizzou showed that they can it can beat Florida, not just hang with Florida. They can beat them, and then they can go to Kentucky, a team that they've struggled out of the gate in conference play, but you can go to Rupp Arena and beat that team. I think the only team right now, the only one I would say is Vanderbilt, because they haven't lost anybody yet. Let's see if someone can beat Vanderbilt at some point, and maybe we can say that any SEC team can be beat. But Vandy hasn't been beat yet, so we'll see. Mizzou will get them eventually. How many times this year? They'll get them once, and it is here in Columbia on February 18th. So I guess we hope that they have a loss by then. I don't know what the thinking might be there. But the premise, I think, is correct. Mizzou showed at least that, Florida, it might not be on the same tier as Vanderbilt. I think Vandy's a tier of its own, but Florida is in the next tier, and you beat that team. And I think you can make an argument for Kentucky to be there, or at least the strength of that game to be about as strong as the Florida game is, because you went to Lexington and got that win. So it's within Mizzou basketball each and every night to grab a win against most any opponent that they will see the rest of the way. I agree that Alabama is kind of tough, but hey, Alabama lost at home to Texas earlier last weekend. So if you play well there, Mizzou hasn't played well there historically, but maybe you find a performance that gets you a win there a little bit later on this month. But yeah, everything's on the table. Every single game left is not out of Mizzou's reach, except for maybe Vanderbilt. A little bit more on your side because you have that game at home, but man, they look really good. And look, I don't know if that means that Mizzou does finish in the top 4 of the conference. I think that's hard to expect. Of course, winning this game puts you at 3-1. And if you start that way, you can think in those terms. No doubt about it. Because again, there's only one undefeated team left. And if you're in the mix at one loss by this point, then of course you start thinking about it. So yeah, to me, I see this game as one that Auburn has a strong metric to it, like predictive metric ranking to this point, a good net. So if you are able to get this win, it'll hold up most of the season. They're not as good as last year, obviously, but still a solid team. So getting this win tonight will, I think, lift some more spirits from whatever might have been lost from the Ole Miss game the weekend before. And look, I'm not saying that there weren't things to be concerned about coming from that Ole Miss game. But again, it's just the nature of, as we talked about, anybody can beat anybody in this league, and being at home can be a major help and a major edge when these teams are so close together. So again, SEC is not as strong as it was last year, but I do think that everyone is a little bit closer together, talent-wise, metrics-wise, and overall strength than they were a season ago. So yeah, pick off anybody. It's all gettable from here on out. And if you're 9-9 by the end of it, you're not a shoo-in for the NCAA tournament. You might still have to do some work in Nashville to get yourself in, but you're in the conversation. Mizzou, if they go even 7-8, the rest of the way, they finish 9-9. But I think the goal needs to be 10 SEC wins. That can get you firmly in the conversation. I think that would get you on the right side of the bubble, but maybe a win in Nashville further solidifies that. So you obviously hunt for that too. But 10 wins. And again, because everybody is so close together, I'm not necessarily convinced that it needs to matter who the 10 wins are against and who the 8 losses are against. No, the Ole Miss loss isn't awesome. It is, according to KenPom, the team that Mizzou, out of the teams that Mizzou has lost to, Mississippi State is ranked the lowest. Actually, no, not true anymore. Notre Dame's lower than them. So, like, it's still going to be a top 70 loss, I think, most of the year, which is not awful. If that's your worst loss, then you're in good shape. But you have to limit them going forward. You can't let more of those opportunities go by the wayside to win away games in this league. But again, there are other opportunities to get them. South Carolina, Mississippi State, Oklahoma. This weekend, LSU could be an interesting one to get. LSU's looked a little bit better this year. I don't know how much that'll hold up all season long, but again, everyone's so close together in this league. Throw them up in the air, and you could tell me that any team was 11-7 in this league, and I believe you. In the end, with the way these teams look, they're just so tightly wound together. So we'll obviously start to see separation once we play more and more of these games. But yeah, Mizzou just needs to hold. If you hold serve in your home games, you will finish now with the record that you need to, I think, get into the NCAA tournament. 10 wins, and then maybe one more in Nashville. And I think even that you can get there, even with the awful non-con that Mizzou had. A non-con that's not really going to age all that well, with the exception of Minnesota. It's looking a little bit better on the Golden Gopher side. They've maybe come back down to earth a little bit after starting 3-1 in Big Ten play. They're now 3-3. They lost in overtime to USC, lost by 3 points to Wisconsin. But still, some good gains made by that team here recently. Maybe it helps you out a little bit down the line. I don't know if it gets you into quad, if that game gets into quad 2 territory. It probably doesn't, but see how Minnesota does. Other than that, you have nothing else to hang your hat on in non-con play, so you do need to have a winning SEC record to feel really good. Give us your prediction for Mizzou and Auburn. 875-KTGR here on The Big Show to discuss it with us. Tell us what your score prediction is. Ken Pom projects it as an 80-79 win for Auburn. Let's see what unnamedsportsbook.com said about this as far as how they view this game. But honestly, it is a coin flip. Should be in that territory. You want to give the slight edge to Auburn because they have the better metrics to this point in the season. That's fine. I think for the most part, you throw it up in the air and absolutely anything can happen. It might come down to a bounce or two for this game tonight. But I think Mizzou gets it done. They might have to win this game a little bit more on the defensive side. But I'm going to say they do it. I'm going to say they do it to the tune of 78-71. That's my prediction for Mizzou basketball tonight. They win this game. They are 1.5 point underdogs tonight, according to unnamedsportsbook.com. Mizzou is. So we'll see if they can overcome that. Sportsbook's obviously saying that Auburn is strong enough, even without home field advantage on their side, to get that victory. But I don't know. I think that Mizzou's Tigers could be primed for another spot where they maybe hit a few threes in a row to start out, gives them the cushion they need heading into halftime. You do have to make sure you finish the half well this time. That had been a point of punishment by Mizzou teams in some key games this year. But look, they've avoided that recently. See if they can avoid it again tonight and get a victory against Auburn. Tips off at 6, pregame coming up at 5:30 right here on KTGR. So we'll end a little early for that, but in the meantime, keep getting your thoughts in. Still a little time left for you to do so, and we'll get some more of your calls and texts about the transfer portal for Mizzou so far. Next, you're on The Big Show, KTGR.
Follow The Big Show on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And keep it here on your total sports station, KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. It is getting to be holiday time, and that means slick roads a lot of the time. So make sure that your tires are in tip-top shape. If you need new ones, now's a great time to get some at Lee's Tire Company, because right now they're running a special where you can buy 2 tires and get 2 free on Mastercraft and other select brands. That's right. Buy 2 tires and get 2 free. That'll save you a ton of money if you need new tires, or you just want to switch them out for the winter time. You can do that too with Lee's Tire Company. They have an excellent service team at all 3 of their locations that can get your car serviced for these winter months. And of course, they are the tire pros in mid-Missouri. I've gotten my new tires from Lee's Tire Company. You should do so too, especially now. Buy 2 tires, get 2 free on Mastercraft and other select brands at Lee's Tire Company on the Business Loop in Columbia, or University Garage by the MU campus, or their location in Centralia. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com.
Paradise doesn't have to be far away. Sometimes it's a quiet walk through a state park. Sometimes it's your favorite takeout and a night in. At Shangri-La, we believe that cannabis belongs in those everyday moments, not as an escape, but as part of living well. That's why we offer 20% off select category every day, plus 20% off store-wide every Sunday. Thoughtful products, honest guidance, real value. Shangri-La, discover paradise. Learn more at ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day and nothing worked until Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food, crazy, enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick Hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, only $59.99. Seminars, Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn, Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Welcome to every gym in January. Membership prices, crazy high. Crowds, even worse. All just to wait in line for a bench. Or, hear me out, you could build your own home gym from Play It Again Sports. Free weights, dumbbells, plates, treadmills, ellipticals, benches, racks, and more. New and used. At prices that don't feel like a crime. No crowds, no monthly fees, no awkward eye contact with Chad curling on the squat rack. Play It Again Sports. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of The Big Show.
So tell us your prediction on Mizzou basketball tonight, taking on Auburn at Mizzou Arena. Tip off at 6 o'clock. We'll get you out to coverage here in just a few minutes here on The Big Show, KTGR, and the free KTGR app. Also, while you're on that app, be sure to check out our conversation with the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, that happened last hour. Thanks to John for joining us ahead of the Cardinals Caravan event on Friday at 6 o'clock. Be sure to join us for that. We'll be out there from 4 to 6 doing our show there. And we'll get a chance to talk to some Cardinals players in the meantime while that's happening before their event starts at 6 o'clock. And that should be a lot of fun. And you'll get some stuff out of it, too. If you're 16 and older, you get 2 Cardinals tickets. If you're 15 and younger, then you get autographs from each one of the players. Not a bad deal. And it's all for free. You don't have to spend a thing. Just show up to the Missouri Farm Bureau Center in Jefferson City, 6 o'clock on Friday, and you can get that. Let's get to this comment here from Michael on our Facebook page. Says, on the transfer portal for Mizzou football, 2 starting caliber pass rushers is number 1 priority. Starting interior D-line and rotation D-line. Like to play a lot along the front. Need 1 more O-lineman and agree on stud receiver. Like, yeah, it seems to me that the money spent, like a lot of folks have asked, like, how much money does Mizzou have in this? I mean, we don't really know, but I'm sure they got enough to get what they need. And they can't splurge at every position, but I think at this point, for whatever you have left, you need to splurge at the end. And quite possibly wide receiver. And certainly so. It's not to say that you shouldn't go and get D tackles either, or offensive linemen if there's one available that you can get and you like to add to the depth. Sure, go ahead and get them. But the splurge categories now, I think, have to be D-end and just 1 more wideout. 1 wideout that can plop in as a starter right now next to Alubade and whoever else you want to add to the starting mix from what you've got in the transfer portal so far. That should be the priority for the next week-ish. We'll see if they can get it done. Thanks for joining us today. We're back tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Talk more Mizzou transfer portal. We'll get our reaction to Mizzou hoops tonight as they take on Auburn and so much more. So join us for that tomorrow at 4 o'clock here on The Big Show. And stay tuned. Mike Kelly and Chris Trevino standing by from the Tiger Radio Network for coverage of Mizzou men's hoops tonight against Auburn. Enjoy the game. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Andy. We're done for now.